Starting your day off with a take on Vegas you won't get anywhere else.
Hi, I'm Holly Madison, and I listen to Brian Shapiro.
Hi, this is William Shatner, and I listen to Brian Shapiro.
Hey, this is Larry the Cable Guy, and I listen to Brian Shapiro. Why? Because I'm a good American. So is he. And if you don't listen to him, you need to pack up and leave this country.
This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
Welcome all again!
What's up, everybody? It is the Vegas Take on a Wednesday, back at you. Oh, yeah, I'm excited for today. I've been looking forward to going on the radio all day. It's like therapy for me because there's so much to talk about. My co-host, Mr. Sharp, is running hooky again, I guess you could say. He's running late again. You know, if he was going to high school and, you know, this would be like probably the 15th time, I think he would be suspended. I think I need to suspend him from the show. I don't know. Well, I think he's on his way, so he will be here. But also joining us, he joins us every Monday, but I said, you know, Chris Wynn, you have to join us today because we have so much to talk about. So Mr. C. Wynn himself joining us in studio. Chris, thanks for being here. How are you?
I'm doing great, Brian. It's always good to join you, particularly on a hump day like this. And after, you know, one of the more, celebratory political nights during the year when, of course, we're talking about, after the State of the Union address.
I already got people calling into the show, and I haven't even given out the number yet. We'll take some calls in a few minutes. Relax, guys. Relax. We're going to go over the State of the Union address, and we are going to fact-check it, so that will be happening here in just a minute or two. How about the mess in Virginia? Are you kidding me? We have the governor, we have the attorney general, and then we have the lieutenant governor all in some sort of weird, I don't know, it's just beyond ridiculous. We'll get to that.
At this point, right, Brian, it looks like the guy who works in the mailroom could end up being governor of Virginia.
It's just absolutely insane. It's ridiculous. So we're going to get to all that. I have a beef with another member of the local media. Somebody today went on the air and made some ridiculous comments about the UNLV coaching job. And, of course, UNLV plays Boise State. Big game tonight. So we'll preview that. We'll talk about why somebody would say what they said. We'll get into that. I'll just kind of tease it now, but in my opinion, it was idiotic. I tweeted it out, and we will discuss it, and we will talk about it in hour number 2. Also some NBA trade talks as well. But let me start with this. Let's start with the State of the Union. And there were a lot of things that Donald Trump said in the State of the Union that I think, again, were ridiculous. Let me start with just some basic things. First of all, he said that if he had not been elected president of the United States, as of right now, in his opinion, they'd be in a major war with North Korea. That was one of those comments that I kind of just shook my head. By the way, in 2016, at the end of the Obama administration, there was no sign that the United States and North Korea were about to go to war. So I'm not sure what he's getting at there. Obama continued economic sanctions, and Trump's first year in office, he actually, in my opinion, increased tensions with North Korea by attacking its leader, Kim Jong-un. Do you remember what he called him? Little rocket man, so on and so forth. There is absolutely zero evidence that they're not continuing with their weapons. And for him to make a statement like that, to me, is ridiculous. In talking about abortion, I'm not going to roll through all of them. We'll go step by step here. But Trump yesterday talking about abortion, he said lawmakers in New York cheered with delight upon the passage of legislation that would allow a baby to be ripped from the mother's womb moments from birth. That is a quote from Donald Trump yesterday. It's actually going to allow for an abortion after 24 weeks to protect the mother's health or if the fetus is not viable. Under the prior law, abortions were allowed after 24 weeks only if the woman's life was in jeopardy. That is how the law has changed. But if you talk to Donald Trump and if you listen to his speech yesterday, that's what he makes it out to be. There are a lot of other things that Donald Trump said in this speech last night that were incorrect, that were just factually wrong. I've said this about, this speech every year, no matter who's. I think it's just ridiculous. It's like a bunch of children out there. You have half the crowd sitting down. If it's a Republican president, the Democrats are sitting down, and vice versa. You got Republicans sitting down and Democrats standing up and cheering. To me, it's just it's a waste of time. In my opinion, the state this address, it is a complete and utter waste of time. First of all, for the most part, the president doesn't write the speech, number one. Number two, yesterday you got Nancy Pelosi and the vice president behind there with their stupid little golf claps and playing politics, and there's stupid grins on their faces. To me, this speech is it's a complete and total waste. The only thing about last night, and I always say this every year, that wasn't a waste of time. And then I'll get to your opinions on this, and we'll take some calls. The heroes that were in the crowd. That is the part of the speech that I enjoy. For example, the police officer who went into the synagogue in Pittsburgh, I think he was shot 11 times. That was really great to honor him because he is a hero. The 10-year-old child, God love her, that developed cancer. and how strong she is. I was glad that the president brought her up. And how about a few people that were in the crowd that fought through and actually survived the Holocaust? And one of those men actually survived the shooting in Pittsburgh. I thought it was great to honor those individuals. That was the only part of the speech last night that I actually was paying attention. And I said, wow, that's really cool. And how about the two African Americans that were in jail for drug charges, female and a male? Yeah. I thought that was also very touching, that for these drug charges, they probably would still be in jail. It's ridiculous. But the fact that they're out now and they're doing great things with their lives, I thought that was great for the president to honor them as well. So I've unloaded. I've said it. There's a lot of other things about this speech last night that I will get to that were factually inaccurate. We're going to take some calls on this at 257-5396, 702-257-5396. I thought it was an utter and complete waste of time. Let me start with you, Chris, and then we will go to my co-host, J.D. Sharp, who has arrived in studio a few minutes late, but that's okay. You brought a pass. You brought a hall pass, so everything's okay. You got a haircut, too, by the way. It's a nice haircut you got there.
I needed this bad. I feel like a brand new man. I honestly do.
And I got your grandpa in the background giving me some thumbs up there, so I like
hanging
that.
Out, just watching the show.
I think he approves of your haircut. I think it looks good. It does. It looks very, very good. Okay, let me start with Chris first. Chris, your thoughts on the State of the Union address, and then we'll take some phone calls at 257-5396. Go ahead, Mr. Wynn.
Brian, there was no doubt many aspects of the event last night of the State of the Union that were apropos and that were basically something that happens every year when it comes to the State of the Union address. You addressed, you talked about it with the World War II heroes and addressing the heroes and the approach that's taken by both Republicans and Democrats and independents that attended. In regards to, you had a lot of most of the Democratic women were wearing white, of course, to as a tribute to the 100 years since women were able to vote and women's suffrage, and so there was that aspect to it. But what people were focusing and what made yesterday unique for a lot of people on both sides of the aisle and anybody that has a political ideology is the interaction and the way things were, the way that President Trump was going to address the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, Madam Speaker, as well as other members and other Democrats. And look, let's be honest about it too. Another reason why it was unique last night is because we're coming out of a government shutdown, right? And it was the speech was rescheduled a week later because of a government shutdown. So there's that kind of sentiment in the air. There's that kind of climate in D.C. where there's a lot of uneasiness, where there's a lot of uncertainty as to what's going to happen going forward. And so that combined with the anticipation of what President Trump was going to say, I think, made it intriguing to say the least for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And so you talked about some of the people that were paid tribute to, and rightfully so. He also brought in some angel families as well too, the people that were had horrific tragedies in regards to being murdered by undocumented immigrants, and he brought that up as well too. But I think when it came right down to it, at the end of the day, what we focused on is what he said and how he addressed certain issues that we're dealing with in America.
And we're going to continue to examine and fact check. But let's go to JD here, JD Sharp. What your thoughts on the State of the Union?
I thought he was very, very composed. The reason he hasn't talked to the media the last 2 months is because he's been preparing for this speech, by the way.
Well, he has talked to the media.
Not a lot. He definitely took a step back in the last 45 days.
You're right, JD. He has when it comes to the look. There's no question that Sarah Huckabee Sanders is nowhere to be seen.
He's been feeling some serious heat from his party, and now this was kind of his proving himself to the American people and to his party that, hey, I can be composed. I can be reasonable, and I can make cogent points, which he did a very good job of last night. I really enjoyed. There was a guy's name was Charles Harper, and he was a inmate who went to jail in 1986.
Right,
he was wrongfully drug charges, and he's been teaching kids. He's been teaching inmates, and he's a law clerk. He picked up a bunch of degrees, and now because of the new First Step Act, he is now out. I thought that was awesome.
I agree with you. I thought that was as well. Usually the president is on point when there is a teleprompter in front of him. The times when he screws up and he says idiotic things is when he's ad-libbing. He says things, he just talks like a moron.
When he's in front of a computer screen, for example. Or his cell phone.
But even with a teleprompter, we're going to continue to fact-check this. I have plenty other things that I'd like to discuss, but why don't we take some phone calls? Phone calls that flooded here at 257-5396 if you want to be a part of the show. Again, 257-5396. Let's start with Steve, who's been waiting patiently on hold. Steve, thanks for calling in. How are you? Steve, are you there? Earth to Steve.
Hello,
okay.
Steve.
Thank you for the call, Steve. We appreciate it. That might be the best call we get the whole show. 257-5396. Let's go to Phil. Phil, thanks for calling in. How are you, Phil?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
What's up, Phil?
I'm not going to argue with you on the factual. I mean, you look at every State of the Union speech by any president, the fact checkers are going to pick them apart. What I find interesting, and the reason I don't think it's a waste of time, is you look at the dichotomy between the two parties and as a whole. You don't get really much of a chance to do that. All you see are individuals on screen, on shows, or doing their interviews. But you never get a chance to see the parties together and how they react as a whole compared to the issues of the day.
Right.
I think the most telling item was about the abortion item. You look at the way he said, let's do a third trimester word.
Completely divided are the parties
That's
on
right.
that issue.
And look who was sitting down. Would you ever think anybody in this country would ever say, we're going to say it's right to kill a child or to kill even a newborn and in the third trimester, whether it's you agree with the position or not? I just thought that was very telling. So from those types of reasons, that's why I really don't think it's a waste of time.
Well, I understand what you're saying, Phil. I respect what you're saying, but I guess my problem with that is, if you know what Democrats think and you know what Republicans think, that wouldn't shock any of you. We all know that Democrats are pro-abortion and Republicans are not. It's just as simple as that. Now, when you're talking about this third trimester, it is a very complicated issue. Here's why it is. Now, for the record, I am okay with abortion so long as people do it responsibly. In this law that is put forth, it is up to the doctor. The doctor can make a decision with the woman, okay, on whether to go forward with this or not. I am okay with that, especially if you are talking to a doctor, a physician, somebody that understands what's going on. It's not like, Donald Trump and many Republicans want to make it sound like a woman who is in the third trimester is just walking into a hospital saying, Doc, I don't want this baby. Can we please kill this baby? That is absolutely not what's going on here. But if you listen to Republicans, they'll make you think like that. And that's, to me, that's a problem. That is an issue. This is another problem that I had with what I'm glad you brought this up, Phil. This is another problem I had with what Donald Trump said yesterday in his speech. He said, quote, "We had the case of the governor of Virginia where he stated he would execute a baby after birth." Well, in an interview last month when he's talking about Northam, he said that he supported a late-term abortion bill that would loosen restrictions on the procedure and allow women to consult with a doctor on an abortion up to but not including the time of birth. Those are two completely different things. But if you listen to Donald Trump, he'll make it out to believe that, Democrats just want to murder babies.
We could debate that. I disagree with that. But I think the bottom line is that we've developed into a culture that is actually talking about the acceptance of the losing of a child in that third trimester. And after you look at ultrasounds and you see babies that have been born early, anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks, with complete fingers and toes, and they're fine. And the way it was expressed by the governor was really bad. Okay, we're going to deliver the child. We're going to resuscitate it if they want to. And then we're going to discuss the life of this child after it's been delivered as to whether or not it's going to be killed.
Yeah,
that governor was totally wrong.
Unfortunately,
in the way he articulated that argument.
And I don't disagree with you, Phil. And by the way, you're not going to get anyone that's going to. At least I'm certainly not going to defend this guy.
And Phil, that is completely disgusting. What you just described, by the way,
it is.
Okay, all right, listen, let's agree there. But for just 1 second, the comment that Mr. Trump made after that was about, let's go to Congress and have you pass a law that says, no longer are we going to do third trimester abortions. And then you look at who was applauding and who was sitting, and I'm looking at that with a total curiosity because there's a total division about what is right for life.
Well, there's a
We
division.
debate the particulars. I understood your argument.
Yeah.
I understood your argument.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm looking at the part we were talking about the State of the Union.
Right.
Go back to that.
Yes.
With respect to what was happening in the audience and why it is or isn't a waste of time. And you really don't have too many opportunities as an observer to look at the two parties react to a general policy position.
Again, I understand.
That was very telling.
And by the way, Phil, I appreciate the call. You make some good points there, and I appreciate you calling in. I guess the point.
Thanks a lot, Phil.
And the number to call, by the way, if you want to be a part of the show, is 257-5396. Again, 702-257-5396. Here's what I mean when I say waste of time. Let me kind of reiterate what I was saying, and I understand his point. First of all, we all know what side the Democrats are on, the Republicans are, what side the Republicans are on when it comes to issues of abortion or gun control, for that matter, or gay marriage, for that matter. We know the basics. We should know. And if you don't know, then maybe you're not paying attention to the news. I hate to say it like that, but that's the truth. The reason why I say the State of the Union as a whole is a waste of time is because we know what the president is going to say. It's going to talk about his agenda. It's going to be a lot of words, and he's going to try to bring people together. But action speaks louder than words. And when we see half of the people in that room sitting down and half the people in that room standing up and clapping every 10 seconds, to me, it is a complete and utter waste of time. And I stand by that comment.
I think it's an embarrassment to the United States. Every single person in that court or in that area should be standing no matter what their affiliations or what their beliefs are.
That's where I disagree. I'm going to disagree with that.
That's not the reality. Yeah. Because people have political positions and ideologies that
I don't think there should be clapping. I don't think anybody should be clapping at any point. Sit down the entire speech, let the president say what he needs to say, and then I agree with you. Everybody stand up and give him a round of applause. But this clapping every 10 seconds is annoying. I'm shouting at the TV yesterday when I'm watching it, and I'm saying, sit the F down. Let him finish his speech. Stop it with the stupid clapping. I'm tired of it. It's annoying, man. I get what JD's saying. Let's do that as a whole, Democrats or Republicans. At the end of the speech, that I'm all for.
But the reason why they look when you're watching, the reason why they're doing it is because they're showing support for a particular policy or issue, right? I mean, it's not just a ho-hum, go through the motions type of deal, right? He's trying to portray a perspective, right, from the White House and from the Republican Party that he represents.
Pelosi was actually in the middle. She was writing down notes on a notepad at one point. Ocasio-Cortez just had a scowl on her face the entire time, and she got way too much airtime.
Yeah, well,
did Schumer stand up one time?
Are we really shocked that was the circumstances that were portrayed?
But that's embarrassing, Chris.
And Nancy Pelosi was, by the way, I think she was looking at an actual copy of the speech, right? She had a copy of the actual transcript that was going on. Here, look, here's my quick analysis in regards to the actual meat and potatoes of Trump's speech. At the beginning and at the end, right? For the first probably 15 minutes to the last 15 minutes, there was a lot of stuff in there that was unified, that was projecting unity, right? That was trying to portray a strength, that was trying to be positive. The whole thing, the whole message of America being great, that kind of thing. Look, it was there. Without question. It was the middle part of the speech that a lot of people have issues with in regards to fact checking, in regards to what exactly he was talking about and what direction he wants to take this country in.
Yep.
That's what people had an issue with. So you talk about we just talked to the caller for about 10 minutes about all the quote unquote pomp and circumstance and the reaction of Democrats and Republicans. That stuff goes on every year.
It does.
And so I take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
When someone doesn't stand up or someone sits down in a certain part of it, it's not really about the issue to me, to be quite honest with you. I think it's about the messenger and it's a message to Donald Trump.
What it's about.
It has nothing to do. Look, any reasonable American is going to support or be happy that we're acknowledging a World War II veteran, that we're acknowledging individuals that deserve to be acknowledged, right? But it's such a political thing now.
That's all it is.
People are making judgments about. In this case, because it's a Republican president, they make the judgments about the Democrats who are sitting down.
That's all it is. I agree. 257-5396 is the number to call in. Let's go to Larry. Larry, thanks for calling in. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'd just say on that New York law, the way the person that wrote the bill described it and the way the governor described a baby laying on the counter deciding if it's going to be, they should let it live or die. That's infanticide. That's all it is.
Okay, fair enough.
But
Go ahead, Larry.
No, I think even Democrats, a lot of them are even appalled by that law. Just because
there are parts, Larry, there are parts of the law that I agree with. For example, if you are in a room with a physician and there might be issues with the baby or there could be health issues with the mom, I am all for that. There are specific things that I disagree with and things that I agree with. Let me be clear when I say that I have always been okay with a woman getting an abortion if she has to get an abortion, if she does it in a legal way. For the women out there that use abortions as birth control, that is disgusting, okay? I am not for that, and I am not for late-term abortion. However, there are exceptions, Larry. You have to admit that. What I don't like is the ultra-religious fanatics who don't want abortion to be legal. That's fine. You have the right not to get an abortion. I don't have a problem with that. It's a free country. But stop pushing your beliefs on others. Every woman is different. Every woman's body is different. Every woman's religion is different. Every woman's beliefs are different. And what I can't stand are people throughout the country that push their ultra-religious beliefs on others. It sickens me. And guess who's one of those people? Mike Pence, our vice president. That's right. He thinks if you're a homosexual, you should have to go to conversion therapy. He doesn't even think that his woman should be around another man unless he is there. I'm sorry, but Mike Pence is an absolute idiot. He is a moron, Larry.
These are the same arguments they use against the people trying to stop the insanity of the
I'm sorry, trying to stop the what? Can you repeat? I'm having trouble.
The Holocaust. You're using the same arguments that people used against the people who tried to stop the Holocaust in Germany.
What are you talking about?
It's the same argument.
The same argument is because Mike Pence is anti-gay? Is somehow the same argument about the Holocaust? Larry, what the hell are you talking about?
Larry,
I can't even understand what you're saying.
I'll admit, Larry, I'm very confused right now.
What does this have to do with killing innocent Jews? What are you talking about?
It's still a life.
So you're comparing Adolf Hitler and the Holocaust and putting people in ovens and burning people alive to someone who is pregnant, maybe a month pregnant, and having an abortion. Is that the correlation you're trying to make, Larry? Have a nice day. Goodbye. If you're going to make a correlation like that, don't call into the show because that is just idiotic. You just sound like a moron. What the hell is he saying?
The bottom line on this issue is this.
Like
the governor was wrong in the way that he portrayed and the way that he expressed himself in regards to this issue, okay? I think that's been established, and most people understand that. But this whole, the issue of abortion, is going to be bantered about, till the end of time, okay? And there's people that are on both sides of it.
What is Larry talking about?
But there's no question that the governor, in my opinion, you can describe it however you want. He misspoke. He didn't address it right. Whatever. That he made a mistake, in my opinion. And look, there's no reason to go and fillet all the people out there on the left that might necessarily disagree with people who are pro-life.
All right, well, why don't we take a quick break? I'm still perplexed by that last phone call. We'll get to that when we come back. 257-5396, the number to call, 702-257-5396. We'll see if anyone else wants to compare the Holocaust to abortion. That was just bizarre. Take a quick break. We'll be back right after this. You're listening to the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM KDWN.